Hey, it's Lex and Lynn, hosts of Mood, the podcast that's your go-to for humour, wisdom and a touch of NSFW. Mood. We're relatable as fuck.
So this is episode 6, but today we have a special guest with us, Anna. And actually, you know what? Why don't you introduce yourself and tell the lovely people about who you are, what you do, and then we can go from there, I guess.
So I guess brief introduction. I always hate this part. I'm like, what do I say about me? I'm Anna. I am an online female coach. I love to see women win in all aspects, whether that's work, life, just anything. I just love to see them win. So I created a program to enable women to do just that. Prepping for another great photo shoot. And this time round, it's very much around like strong female bodies. And by strong female bodies, I don't just mean, let's go and show off our muscles, but resilience, discipline, just general strength, like mental and physical strength. And that's the big theme for this photo shoot, which is slightly different to the last one. It was all about just embracing like just ourselves. And just kind of having fun with it, like more body confidence and like kind of just finding that inner sexy, which a lot of women struggle to do. And that was a lot of fun. And this time around, it's very much around that strength, resilience. So I'm absolutely buzzing about this.
So I did the last photo shoot with Anna as well, which was it was all about like body confidence, pushing yourself out of the comfort zone stuff. And it was something I had like never done before. And it was scary, but the prep was hard work. But actually, like it was, we need to post the photos, I guess, on here so you guys can see it after. We'll show you. But it was so much fun, and now we're working towards like the next one, like Anna said. And like, yeah, prep is, you get your good days and then you get your bad days, but the results afterwards and like how much work you put into yourself, and like you said, like that discipline and that just it all pays off. And it's nice to look back and be like, oh my god, I really achieved something. Like I really did work on me over the last X amount of time. I saw myself at my strongest and my weakness throughout it. So yeah, it's been great. But what got you into like, I guess what I'm trying to say is what got you into fitness in the first place? And then when did you get to the point when you're like, I want others to feel the same way that I feel?
Yeah. You know what? I've had a really, really on and off relationship with fitness as a whole. And I think at first fitness for me was like this dark cloud of like you have to be active or you have to go to the gym if you want to be skinny, or like, it was like a punishment place for me to go to after like a heavy weekend, or, if I had one too many Mackies over the week or something like that. And it was always from a place of hate. I honestly actually hated the gym. I hated it. I used to be forced into doing some classes that I absolutely hated. And it never felt like it was a place for me or ever. And I was also the person in school that would forget their PE kit, like quote unquote, like because I just hated anything activity sort of based movement. Some would call it lazy. I'm not like, I don't really know where that came from. I don't know if that was like, subconsciously I just felt uncomfortable, or maybe I just didn't feel like fit enough or whatever. So it's probably a mix. But I think what changed for me, and I think you guys touched on this like on your previous episode, where it was like, why does it have to get really bad before it gets better? And it got really bad. Like, not to get like too deep into it, but I allowed it, like I let it get really bad over a period of years. So it wasn't like a sudden moment. It was like it span over like a good 8 or 9 years. And that was in my 20s. It's only really when I look back now, I realize like how much I kind of missed out on, or not missed out on, but how much I kind of like stopped myself doing things and like not really lived as much as I would probably have lived. Would have done it again. But it changed. I think it changed for me. It came from a place of like love. I wanted to do something that my future self would thank me for. I wanted to get up and feel positive. I was so sick of waking up and just dreading the day. I used to dread the day. I used to dread waking up, getting dressed, going into work. Like it was a very miserable time. Like I was miserable, snappy, aggy, like everything. I used to snap at everyone around me. And that was just because I was very, very unhappy. But I didn't realize the extent of that until I came out the other end and looked back and the difference. But that's really what got me into fitness, is very much reaching that really low point of it can't get any worse.
Was there like what you said, kind of it was over a period of time and you kind of didn't realize all of that until a little bit later on when you're looking back? But what would you say was that, fuck this, I'm gonna make a change?
Oh, I can tell you this. It was October 2019, Turkey. all-inclusive holiday with the family. And I remember just being on this holiday and like really not, I just felt really low and really horrible about myself. And I was like putting on clothes, you know, and you like have a like whole day in the sun and you're like getting ready for the dinner and stuff, and it's quite exciting and you want to put your outfits on. I couldn't think of anything worse. And I'd like but I'd eat my way through my emotions, and like I felt really sad. So I wanted to make myself feel better. So I would eat a lot. And I remember like I abused that all-inclusive buffet, and it came with like, you know, like one of those hotels that have loads of restaurants, and then they had like this beautiful like patisserie on like the terrace with like the most incredible views. I would sit in that place daily, 2-3 times a day, and I would eat my sadness in cake, eat all sorts of like ice cream. I got back home and I was just scrolling through some photos, and I was like scrolling through some photos to maybe like post it on Instagram, and I just cried. And there was not a single photo that I would want to post, want to ever look at. And then there was one photo of me in the swimming pool on a rubber dinghy. I think I'm wearing like a yellow bikini. It was that photo. And I said to myself, this is not me. This is not how. And I look back and it's funny, like at first it was because of the size I was. But I do think a lot of it over time, I realized it wasn't really the size. It was generally like my relationship with myself was just in the gutter. But that was the moment that I was like, I will never ever feel like that again. And I came home, rang my sister and said, right, this time I'm going to make sure that I do it properly. And my sister has seen me go through diet after diet, and I'm sure we'll touch on some of the diets we've done, like diet after diet. And it was that moment where she goes, oh, here we go again. But she came round and she took my photos, and like that was it. That I remember, I will never ever forget that moment, because I never ever felt like that again.
Isn't it weird? Like there's just something happens, something triggers. And what I love about your story, like you said, it stopped being about the size. It was really more about how you saw yourself and how you were looking after yourself, how you spoke to yourself. And I think that sometimes is way more important than actually like, okay, yes, my fitness levels and the size I am, etc., etc. But to actually see it as a mental thing. And I know you and I've discussed, and I've sort of said it to Lynette as well, but like loving yourself throughout each step of that as well. Not waiting till I hit this supposedly perfect body or way of being, and then I'll love myself. It's like, why can't I do that in the time I'm doing it as well? So I love that for you, and I love that like you push that onto other people. So if anyone gets a chance to visit Anna Marie Fitness on Instagram, like you would just see that she's just so bigs up women and just wants them to succeed and be their best selves, whether it be like at home life, personal life, work, relationship, like how they see themselves. And like it's nice to see that, and you're not forcing people to be somebody they're not either, and like it's something that isn't sustainable too, which is really lovely to see that. But when did you get to a point where you're like, cool, I'm obviously we're always still working on ourselves, but like where did you get to a point where you're like, okay, now I want other people to feel this way as well? Like,
I started on me, and I did the whole thing. I'm going to do it myself. You know, I was very stubborn. I'm very stubborn. I like to just do things off my own back, and I like to just be like, right, I can do it. Like, I don't need help. You know, I've got this. And no, I did need help. And it was really hard to admit that I needed help, and I needed someone to really guide me. And I realized the reason why I never got to a point I wanted to up until that point was because I never looked at it as a long-term solution. I always looked at it as right, I just need to jump on something for 10 weeks, lose a bit of weight, and I'll be happy. It was always that. Jump on something quick, and then I'll be happy here. I'll be happy here. So it was like ridiculous stuff that I needed to do to get there in that short space of time. This time round, I wanted to like do something that will enable me to live a more fulfilled life within myself. So I looked at the long game, and I thought, right, I need help here, because this is going to be more mentally challenging than the physical. Someone tells me to go gym, I'll go. Someone tells me what to eat, I'll eat, whatever. Like, you know, that's all the above the surface stuff that you can tick off, and it's physical. Like, you can see it, right? You can see yourself doing it. But the doing part, when I realized how much having accountability is life-changing. But then if you think about it, and it kind of got to me, I was a bit like, well, if you think about it, at work, you've got accountability, you've got managers, or you've got your mentors, you've got the direct, you know, you're accountable to someone for your job, so you perform because you've got these things, right? So it's the same thing with having like a coach or a PT. You're now got someone to almost answer to, and what you've set out that you're going to do, you almost kind of have to do it. right?
Yeah.
So naturally at work you perform, that increases your chances of actually outperforming or going thingy. So it happens the same with coaching. So you always, like, that accountability was like a game changer for me, but it was really hard to admit that I needed the help and I couldn't do it alone. I really struggled with that, and it took me a while. And then when I did, it was kind of all flew from there, and I just got so into it, so passionate about it. And when I realized the mental struggle that I was going through, I realized that it isn't the fact that people can't lose weight or people can't change their lifestyle. They can, but sometimes they just need someone in their corner. And I had that someone in my corner at the time. I realized how much it benefited me. So I wanted to give that to someone else. And it kind of started off with me just helping a few friends that were really kind of in a similar position. They were stuck. And I was like, hey, like, try this, try that, like, you know, and that's all I started with. But in the background, I was already going through like my qualification and stuff because I got really, really into it. And I was very nerdy about it, the nutrition, everything. And then I just helped people like that. And like, even like on Instagram, it was just like a few little DMs here and here, just kind of helping people out. There was no real plan for this to become a job.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help some people out. So maybe that they won't feel the way I felt for as long as I did, because it was miserable. It was really miserable. And like now I'm like nearly 32 and I feel like I've only been fully living as my true self for the last couple of years. And if you look at that in comparison to the 32 years of life I've had so far, it's really sad.
But I don't think it is, though. I think the worst would be is to hit a point where, like, coming, you know, do you know like how many people come to like the end of their life and they say, oh, you know what, like, I regret not doing this and this, I regret not looking after myself better and stuff. But no, and I was the same. Like, I'm 38, so I always see it as in, oh shit, if I just done this early. I say it a lot, if I just clocked this early, like blah blah. But I'm like, I'm so glad that I've done it now. It doesn't mean it's too late. Like there's still so much time. And I think we put that age thing on us and we put that pressure on. I think that's what most people off as well. It's that, oh well, I'm too old to do that now. Like, no, you're not. This is really not. Like, it's funny you said about the accountability thing, like at work, and if someone else asked us to help them and stuff, we wouldn't say no. But why are we not helping ourselves out? Like we put ourselves last. I think women do in general, but I think most people do that. They forget about looking after themselves, too busy worrying about everybody else. And that is it's crazy.
It is very much a mental battle most of the time than it is you physically doing it, because physically you are capable. It's a big mental block for a lot of women, and I think that comes down to like upbringing, culture, what they've consumed in terms of like, you know, social media. Like obviously maybe like if we go way back, like the magazines and what was deemed the perfect healthy body, and that's changed over the years. So a lot of it is influenced by that. Yeah. And I think, and that's always hard. I've worked with women of all different kind of ages that have gone through all the different, like you said, from the magazines to the social medias and stuff like that. And now working with women that actually have daughters going into those teenage years as well, and trying to set an example. Like it's tough to like switch your belief system that you've maybe had for so many years. Definitely been a huge challenge for like me as well. And I felt like when I like started it, I felt like I was like too old. Why didn't I do this in my early 20s? Why didn't I do this? And I felt really old. Then I got myself into like bodybuilding, for example, because I like to challenge myself and do ridiculous stuff these days. Again, every time I met someone through bodybuilding, they were like 6, 8, 10 years younger than me. And I was like, am I too old for this? Should I even bother? So like I've had that for years. But now I'm like, actually, maybe I needed to go through all of that to be able to have the experience to now do what I do, because that's this is where I'm supposed to be. And I guess without me going through all that, I wouldn't be where I am today, or the coach I am today, or I have the ability to impact someone's life the way I can if I didn't go through it. So it's one of those things, like I kind of wish I did something differently, but then equally probably not, because where I'm at now is like the best place I've probably ever been in, which is great.
Oh, I love that.
And we touched upon like a couple of things that you've said there as well. Like we'd have heard in the last episode, now what is it, like what's stopping people? And we talked about that mental block, trying to like knock that down, like a big thing that stops people. But also the main thing and the key thing was the way that you talk to yourself. And you kind of said there, what, I'm too old, I'm this, why didn't I start that younger? And then it's that voice, isn't it? And it's that trying to get past that and trying to change the way that you talk to yourself is like, that's the the motivation piece, and
Yeah.
you are your own worst enemy at the end of the day. And like you said, but there's also that accountability piece as well, and having someone who can be accountable for you, or you know, and that sort of thing, and that's someone who can lift you up, and because it's all so much, isn't it? Like the way you look and what you eat and your lifestyle and all of that, it is quite overwhelming. So having that person who's accountable, the way that you talk to yourself, like you said as well, it's all.
Yeah.
And we know what we need to do, but then there's that, what's that next step then to be like, right, let's do it then.
The doing element is hard. Now, what I've probably found, what stops people doing is the fact that they are only focused on what that end goal is. So they're already going into whatever process with, I've just got to get through this and then I'll get there. But that's not how it works, because whatever you decide to do, you've got to do it in a way that you're able to really merge it into your current life so that you can carry it on, right? And I think you mentioned on the previous episode about like how you've tried classes, you've done this, you've done that, like you've done spinning and things like that. It's good to try different things to figure out what it is that you like, and maybe you haven't found that yet, or possibly, but it's maybe that key focus needs to be not on that kind of, okay, let me just do this for a little bit, and then like it's actually sitting down and being like, okay, what do I want to get out of this? What is the reason behind me kind of wanting to go, okay, if I'm going spinning twice a week, cool, why? What will that do for me? How does it make me feel? What will it enable me to do? When you start to think deeper a little bit into it, and you start to really kind of uncover what those real reasons are for you doing something, right? It has more meaning. It has more purpose. So it's not a case of, I can't be asked to go to spinning, because you will drag your ass there regardless of how you're feeling, because the reason behind it is so important. Now, to some, it might be, I want to show my children that I'm a strong, independent woman, or I want to show I want to be energetic. I want to run after my kids. Or it might be that I want to be able to like run up a flight of stairs and not feel like my heart's going to come out of my throat. Whatever the reason it is, right? You've got to get very clear on it. And I think a lot of people will try and stop because it's kind of like they're kind of winging it all, and they're not kind of figuring out what do we get out of it? Why? Like, why is that important? For me, I thought to myself, what is the point of going through life where you're constantly in survival mode, in chasing mode? You're constantly tired. You've constantly got, you've always like all this negative stuff within your head. What is the point? Like, what am I doing here? And I lost like my grandparents quite young. So like my family tree does not go past a certain age, right? And so I almost started living as if I thought to myself, you know what? I might not have long here. So I need to do something about this and make sure however long I've got, I want to wake up energetic. I want to wake up happy. I want to be positive. I want to kind of almost like inspire others to have that positive kind of energy too. So mine came back from the fact that, obviously I watched, my parents lose their parents really young. And then I started to freak out that, am I going to lose my parents really young because it's going to follow on? But then will my potential future kids lose me really young? That's where I started thinking. And so it went way ahead. I went way ahead of myself, probably a bit too much. Yeah. That reason became more important, more deep. Yeah. It wasn't, I want to lose £7 or, whatever it may be. It was like, cool, like I need to do this. Yeah. Because I want to live longer.
Yeah. It's interesting you said about the family thing, because I started looking at like my family history. It was a little bit similar of like my granddad, like my family, there's heart problems in the family. Like my mum's got arthritis, and, my family all struggle with weight and stuff. And it was kind of like, if I keep going, I'm not saying like, oh God, I don't want to be like them. But in my head, it was like, if I keep not doing anything and just like trying to wing it and just, oh, it's fine, I'll do something next week, whatever, then I will probably end up in the same position. And worse so, because I've always struggled being overweight. Like I've always been really heavy, and it's like I kept saying even to doctors, like I worry about like how much my bones are carrying of me, like, and like my, the skeleton is like carrying like a shitload of muscle and fat and all these things. And I was like, I'm doing myself damage for the future. Like I want to be able to like get out of the seat and not be going, oh, like every time I get up, or struggling to get up the stairs as I get older. Like, so those things, it's interesting that you said that, because I feel the same way of like, it's not even about the body anymore, about how you look and stuff. It really is about, I want to live to a good age. I want to be able to move around and not be struggling, and and give my future self a chance. You know, I already did enough damage. Like you were saying, like we wasted time in our younger years, but obviously at least we're aware of like, okay, well, we did this and this, now we need to make some changes around that. I think the one thing I would ask is for you is like, I get people say, when you see someone's doing well and they'll go, oh, you're doing well. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, but I've really dropped off lately and I've kind of lost all that progress. And I never know almost what to say back to them that I want to encourage them to do it again, but not force them to get back on it again, if that makes sense. Because it's not a get back on it as such. It's a, okay, well, you just pick up, where you left off.
It happens. That's the reality. Yeah.
So when someone says that to you, Anna, like, what would you say to them? Like,
one thing you can't do is force anyone into anything. When someone's ready, they're ready. Like, I think that's one thing to say. Again, what have they fallen off on? What have they put themselves on? Because the only reason to fall off it is just because it's either unsustainable, unmanageable, unenjoyable, doesn't fit within like their life. That's why they feel like they're falling off. But if they create something that can merge within that life, there's no falling off. You just have better days and maybe some down days along the way, right? I haven't been perfect. I'll have better days. I'll have down days. I'm not falling off because it's like it's a bit of a roller coaster, really.
Yeah.
And human beings, like if we're talking about women specifically, we're human beings. We have hormones, we have cycles, we deal with things like pregnancies and periods and all that jazz that can literally sometimes make us crazy. And I think sometimes we struggle to almost accept the fact that we are human and we are not going to be perfect. And people just want that perfect week, the perfect diet, the perfect plan. They want everything perfect, but it don't fucking exist.
Yeah.
No, and they want it all now as well. Like, you're saying about the sad diet thing. It's like, quick, I need to lose this by next week, and it's just like so unrealistic. And there's quick fixes out there, but that's all it is. It's so hard not to be judgmental about it, because I know like everybody does what works best for them. And I've been there, done all the terrible diets and stuff and everything as well. But I always get like when someone says, oh, so and so's doing this diet, and I'm like, okay, cool, what are they doing? And you hear like this crazy thing where they're basically starving themselves or whatever. And I'm always like, cool, and I hate it because I'm always like, they're going to put that all back on again as soon as they come off it, and probably more so, right? Like I said, no judgment, each to their own. If that's what makes you happy, do what you need to do. But as being there as someone who's done those, because you're starving yourself of everything that you probably want to eat. And you could probably just have that in a better portion, and a bit more movement and stuff could probably not cause as much damage if you do have that thing. But that's taken years to get that understanding. But it still frustrates me that people are bought into these money making quick ways of just getting people to lose weight quickly, and then that's it kind of thing, and not thinking about their health, their mental health, and what it does to them as well, mentally as well as physically. And it's just still frustrating. There's still a lot, but I feel like there's still, like Lynette and I were saying from Instagram as well, for example, she's using Instagram as an example. There's so much information out there now that it comes to the point where you're like, I don't know what to exercise, I don't know what to eat, I don't know what to do. And unless you've got proper guidance, there's not really anything out there now where it's just like, like you've got the NHS thing, which is like the 12-week thing, and they're like, okay, well, that's just 12 weeks. It's a long-term thing. Like you've got doctors offering you Weight Watchers and Slimming as an option to help you lose weight. And I find that just really crazy, where you have people like yourself that are actually saying, no, you eat this and this, you do that, you make this amount of movement, and you also work on yourself and like the goals that you want to achieve and why you decided to make those changes. Like there's nothing out there that just, like I said, there's an overload of information. I think it becomes so confusing and really overwhelming that there's guidance, but it's like there's too much guidance almost in some respect also, and some of it's not realistic as well. Like we were saying last time, not everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day. For example, it's all good someone saying, oh, you could do this and this, but it's like, yes, but like how realistic is that as well?
Big companies like that have got huge marketing budgets, right? They're very clever with their targeting, right? And they will make whatever product they're selling as sexy as anything. And human beings, we like convenience, we like quick. If you go on Amazon and you type in a product you want to buy, and you've got an option of Amazon Prime same day delivery and, you know, 1-3 days later, but actually you save a little bit of money, or it might be a little bit better quality. What are you going to go for? You want it today, right? You want to get that knock from the Amazon driver at 10 p.m, which, by the way, is ridiculous and it scares me every time. Like, it's the worst. I don't understand who in the right mind would deliver a package at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
My dog hates it. You go for that one, right? So what I do isn't sexy to sell. Because a long term, I'm trying to paint a long term picture for people, because I don't care that you'll come into the program and you lose a stone or 2 stone with me. What I care about is that you're 2-3 years down the line and that's never come back.
Yeah.
Selling that as a long term thing is like, people go, oh no, I ain't got a year. I haven't got that.
Yeah,
I want to see results now. Yeah,
but the year will pass and you ain't moving anywhere.
And if anything, you might be in a worse off position. You know, like it's hard as well, because like not like, yes, you can buy a course with somebody, you can do this and this. You know, like some people have got that, you know, funds to be able to do that. Some people don't. With, like you said, like because of clever marketing, some people just buy into, so a quick fix, sweet, that'll do me nicely. I'll just do whatever that is. You know, we've been brought up to understand things like, you know, food is a sin, or like I'll have a cheat day and stuff like that. And it's just the way out we've been trained to believe that is a thing. And it's, like I said, unless you speak to someone who has that knowledge and understanding and guidance and stuff, then you're going to keep making the same mistakes. And then the other thing we were saying last time is that then everyone tries to do everything all at once. Like, you know, like, for someone who has been sitting on the couch for the last 6 months, I'm just
I'm going to run 10k. I can't even run 10k. Like,
start my diet, run 10k.
Yeah, but that's like this is, and you know, that's, you know, it's a seasonal thing. That January thing hits. We're in that danger zone at the moment, like March, April time, where people start booking their holidays for the summer, like for the summer, and suddenly they're like, "Hey, I've got 5 weeks to my holiday, and I've got 2 stone to lose." Okay, cool. Right? Got this last year, and that's when they buy into the quick fixes. And you'll probably notice some, like if you get like emails, or like if you see different adverts come up, for example, you will notice these like summer shred or belly blasting.
Summer 6 weeks.
These will come up a lot more now, because people are booking holidays. So it all kind of goes in cycles, right? Yeah. Then everyone goes on this huge bender in the summer because it's barbecue season and beer gardens and summer holidays. And then September hits, and September's like the mini January. And it's like, oh, I really need to sort that out. I'm feeling a bit awful after summer. Then they'll do it for a couple of months and they're like, well, it's festive season now. I'm just going to put you eating cheese and wine.
Start in the new year.
It's a constant cycle, but then they get in every year to the same shit. One of my pet hates, they have it in their Instagram bio, and 5th time slimming world. What happened the first 4?
That's true, actually. I never thought that.
What happened the first 4? And surely you learn on your 3rd attempt. Honestly, I can't. And when I see it, I'm like, no, not another one. Clever marketing, you know? And it's like, well, I lost it last time, and then it suddenly just don't really know what happened. I'll tell you what happened. You don't know how you lost it. You don't understand what you were doing. Then it went back and then some. And then you live through thinking that everything's a sin, or you know, eat unlimited pasta. That's not how it works. Like,
who's the ambassador for Slim Fast? Is it Kelly Brooks still? Have I made that up?
Yeah, I think it was Big Nasty and Kelly Brooks at one point.
That was it.
Together. Yeah.
What?
I love that. I did like the advert, to be fair. That's what I mean. I bought it, even me, I bought into the advert because it was Big Nasty. I mean, not Kelly Brooks bores me, but like Big Nasty. I was like, Big Nasty is brilliant.
And these companies have the budgets, like, and then, you know, like PTs or coaches that are trying to promote people actually really thinking long term and like really figuring out, what can I do for me right in this moment that my future self will thank me for, that my kids will thank me for, that, you know. So it's not sexy, and we don't have the budgets, you know, for big campaigns that will show, I don't know, Sally drop £30 in 30 days. Like, I mean, if it was that easy, we'll all be doing it. No one will be out of shape.
This is the thing. No, and this is what gets on my nerves as well, because they were like, you know, if you just did this and you just did that, and you're like, if that was the case, I would be where I'm at now. It wouldn't be like 30 years down the line, I'm still struggling with like the same old shit. You know what I mean? Like, obviously now, because I've actually made proper changes. Like, I've had to change. You know, you do have to change your lifestyle. It is, if you really want to achieve something and you really want to get work something, you do have to change your lifestyle. Like I've said to people, I had to stop trying to think, when can I fit in the gym? It was actually, you know, my life had to actually fit around the gym. Like that's how I'm not, and like I've said before, it's not that that's it, you have to go gym and then that's it. Like it's what you like doing, how you like moving, what makes you feel good about yourself. But it is really difficult. It's that thing of where do you begin with it? And then also the other thing is, like you said about these personal trainers and stuff, is that a lot of it's so focused on the body, but there's no actual change in behaviours. No one really talks about changing behaviours as to how you should be.
Tough.
Then that's the hard one. That really is the hard one.
When it comes to behaviours, so this whole thing, right? When you go on this lifestyle change, you have to be open and willing to change your identity. And sometimes with changing your identity comes a lot of change, a lot of not nice things, that could be around you. As your identity changes, and that scares people. That change, and it's like, whoa, but then if I become this person, what happens to my current life?
Yeah.
But you have to be okay with letting that person go.
Yes.
So it's weird. It's like in a really weird kind of grieving process, right? Yeah. Because I had to let go of that person to become who I am today. I've completely changed my identity to become this person. Mm-hmm. But I had to do that in order to live the life that I really want, that I really, really wanted. And this is where I'm at. So I kind of like grieve the old Anna in the best possible way, but a lot of people aren't willing to let go. They don't like change. Sometimes I actually think people are scared of actually being successful. I know we talk about feeling and not being good enough, but I actually think there's a lot of fear around actually being successful. What happens when I've actually made it and I've done it? What happens on the top of the mountain? What happens there?
Yeah.
The view. The view will change every time. People change, the people around you will change, but then that happens in life anyway.
It's so true about the fear thing. Lynette asked me last time the same, like, why do you think people are scared of doing it? And I said, I think it's the fear of failure. They're not the fear of change. But I see it almost now that, like, you said, like, I agree to the old Anna, but the old Anna paved the way for you to be where you're at now. If you didn't have that way of thinking, you wouldn't have been where you're at now. And I think it's almost like, I feel the same sometimes. I'm like, I'm not, older Lex would have been like, what, go to the gym, fuck that, like, what, don't know if I ain't doing that, it's not me, like, whatever. But it's like, now I'm like, all right, you've had your moment, like, shush now, it's my turn, kind of thing. Like, and you do change, and you do notice, like you said, people around you are either rooting for you or they don't like that you've made changes. They see that you've changed the person. Maybe you come across more, you're a bit look at her confident now, she's really cocksure of herself, etc. It's like, no, I put love into myself. That's all it is.
You're allowed to love yourself. Like, it's not selfish. It's
for sure. Like,
there's a real
borderline, but
there's a real like weird thing around like being a confident woman. It's like, is she arrogant? And I've had situations before where like people would take maybe my confidence as arrogance. I had a situation, and I was on a hen weekend for a friend of mine, and I didn't really know her friends. She was like a friend, and then so she brought it up like after a couple of drinks, and it was like, I'm really, really surprised like about like how you are. And I was a bit like, what do you mean? And she was like, I just thought you're not going to be as nice. So I was like kind of just letting her kind of almost dig herself a bit of a hole, really. It came down to the fact that she looked like, she saw me on my Instagram page. Obviously my friend would tag me, and kind of said, like, based on my Instagram page, I'll post, things around like my photo shoots, but then I just post loads of stuff, right? I'm very open, but I'll talk a lot about that self-love and like that confidence, and like just like people, like, love seeing people win. So I said, okay, so what you're actually saying is that you've got an issue with a woman being confident. Okay, but why? And it went, and I was just like, okay, so you've put this perception that you've got of me because maybe I'll post one, like a selfie of here, or maybe there's a photo in my underwear or whatever it is, but you don't know, first of all, where I was and what it's taken me to get to this place. You don't know my story. You're actually, what you're saying is you don't like the fact that I'm a confident woman, and that's really sad, because what you should be saying is, do you know what, that's great, like she's confident, she's doing this, she's doing that. And it really took me back. And like old Anna, I would be like in bits. But you, Anna, was like, hang on a sec, why are we shitting on like a confident, happy woman? Like, why? What is the point? And we went round and round in conversations, and I was like, I'm just going to stop you there. Like, I'm not confrontational. Maybe back in the day I was, right? Like, now I'm like, just give me peace. Like, I don't want to waste my energy. But it was like, she just had the perception of me based on some photos that I'm confident and that I'm cocky and I'll be stuck up
because you're confident in
so
how
she
you
didn't
come
know
across.
you. She didn't know you.
Me. Didn't know anything about me. She just saw some photos on Instagram grid.
It's mad, isn't it?
And that's really sad, because then it's like, I've had some of the girls that I work with have said like, oh, I feel like I'm being annoying when I'm posting about like all the stuff that I'm doing and all this progress. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You might annoy one or two people, but you don't want those people in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people should be cheering you on. And if you want to share because you're proud, you're not sharing because you're arrogant or you're rubbing it into people's faces. You're just really proud of the work that you've put in. They don't know your story. Yeah, it's mad. But I've had it before, and I think it is true. Like, people, I don't know, sometimes you do get the kind of women that they don't like other successful women, and you do find that people try and knock you down with things.
Yeah.
I had it recently as well. And it's you know, I honestly, like, I've had some absolute shit thrown at me, like, recently, from people that I never thought, like, I just didn't think it would come from, and like the names that were used was just like, whoa. Now, if I didn't do the work that I have done over the years, this would really, really affect me. But in fact, I was like, do you know what you think of me is a true representation of yourself. You know, cool, that's fine. You obviously don't like when you look in the mirror and see the person that you are. Go and do I've done the work. Go and do the work. If you don't like it, do something about it. That's kind of where I sit with it now. Everyone's got the power to change.
It's true. It's true.
I was going to say, it's really sad that the way that she's consuming that information as well. Like, all you want to do is inspire, but all she wants to do is like hate on it. And it's like, and I think people will, but usually those kind of people are, I think what it is because it almost puts like a mirror up to themselves of what am I not doing? Yeah.
Okay. And so it's then easier to kind of hate on it and go, oh, like, she's a bit stuck up. Or why is she constantly, like, why is she posting that? Like, and in my head, I'm like, so fucking what? Post what you want. Like, if you want to wear photo, go ahead. It's your body. Do what the fuck you want.
She doesn't need to click on your page. Like, she doesn't need to do that. Like,
and also, and you know, like, you get like, obviously, like, trolls that will literally comment shit on your, like, first of all, how the fuck have you got time for that? What are you actually getting out of it?
Well, that's what I was going to say. What do you actually get out of, like, saying something nasty? Like, I just, like, great, you said it, now what? Like, what were you hoping for?
The energy that it takes for the people to troll other people, it's like, Jesus, you can really channel that energy to do something else. Like, what? Like, what is that?
I just don't get why, like, if someone's doing something good for themselves, why it's so offensive to somebody else, and why they judge you. Yeah, and it is that. And I know it's that. Like, I've had, like, I was doing a show, and I was still doing shoot prep, and we had like all these sweets and stuff in the room, and I was like, no, I'm gonna have something, it's fine, you know, like, and I just literally had picked up the packet and I went to turn it over just to see the calories, and just because I was gonna track it anyways. And my mate was like, are you really gonna track your calories? And I was like, I'm just looking. But I was like, I'm gonna have it, because she was like, just eat it. And I was like, no, I am gonna have it. I was like, I was just curious to see how much was in it, and it made me almost like feel like I had to justify what I was doing. And I kind of like, and then I thought, okay, I could either take this really personally, or I could just go, or whatever, like, kind of thing. Like, I know she's not in the same headspace as me, and that's fine. And I'm not saying she has to be either, but it was just that, it was that instant judgment that made me almost judge myself on it. And
it makes you think. It does stop you.
And you feel bad for saying, oh, you know, I'm not going to drink, or, you know, you guys have to, I'm just probably going to get a coffee and stuff. Like, and like you said, like, you know who's rooting for you and who's not, with just those things right there. And it's horrible. Unfortunately, it's things like this that make you realise who your friends are, who really cares about you, whatever. But I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, I'm happy to see my friends succeed. I'm happy to see if they've made changes that are good for them. You know, like, you would want to pull them up on something if you felt they were, you know, fucking up somewhere in life, and you felt like you needed to be that person, like that intervention. But why are you not happy for them when they're doing good for themselves also? Like, it's just, I find it weird. Like, I get, obviously I'm a plus size girl, and we did the photo shoot and stuff, and you get so many people going, oh my God, you're so brave for doing that. And I'm like, brave for what? What did I do that's so brave? And I'm like, what, because I'm a big girl and I show body, because you guys always think it's wrong for me to show my body off. Like, I just kind of, it bugs me a bit. It's like, I get it. I think what they're trying to say is you're really confident. I don't think the word is brave, because it's not brave. You're confident. Like, you're confident that you carry yourself off and you look after yourself. But I don't see that as anything. I think we should all be able to do that. I don't see anything that. But I know it's not comfortable. I know some people say, "Oh, I could never." But I used to say I could never, and then I thought, "Well, fuck it."
Get off.
I got all my kit off, and
Take your kit off.
I got to the point where I thought I spent my whole life trying to cover up my body for fear of people. It's very obvious I'm a fat girl. Like, I'm a big girl. What am I covering exactly? It's not, more clothing isn't going to hide the fact I'm a big girl. So it's like, why am I so scared of showing it? So it's because we've been made to believe that that's not okay to show that off. But it's like, I was proud, even though I'm still big. Like, I'm so proud of the work that I've done on me over the last X amount of years or months and whatever. So it's like, why shouldn't I fucking show that off? Like, I worked hard on it.
I always say, honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, you could be the smallest version of yourself, but still be unhappy. And I think you've done it the way where you've really grown to really love you for you. And then you're working on becoming a healthy human being. You want to be healthy. You want to, you want to move better. We're not focusing on just a size or, just for you to drop weight, whatever that happens as a byproduct of the stuff that you're doing in order to become healthier and move more. Yeah. But the focus isn't that. The focus isn't, I need to drop that kilo, I need to drop this. It's not that. It is annoying when it's you're so brave. Okay, cool. I'm just in a body, I know what you mean, but then, I'll look back and I'm when I was overweight and stuff, I don't know if I'd ever do a shoot. Again, that's I guess the limiting belief that I maybe had at that point of well, no, that's not worthy of a shoot. And I remember when I did my first ever photo shoot prep, which was I did the shoot in July 2020. The mentality for that shoot versus any other shoot I've done ever since was actually mental. And I realized how badly I neglected the mindset element of this whole process. I remember doing the shoot and I got to my lightest ever weight. I lost 5 stone. And the shoot was coming up and it was all about just being as small as I can be, as light as I can be. That was the whole goal. Right? Nothing else mattered. And I was obsessed with that goal. Got to shoot day. First of all, I was starving, absolutely starving. Honestly, if you saw what I ordered from McDonald's after the shoot, it was wild.
That's my girl.
Everything on the menu, please.
Yeah, literally everything now. Yeah, and then it was can you pull into bay 3? No, hand it over.
I can't wait.
You know what? I remember getting doing the photos and stuff. Kind of, I was on a bit of a high. I've never done a photo shoot. This is I've never been this small. I've never worn a size 8 pair of shorts. What the hell? What is this? I've got the photos. I shared some of them, and that's when I started kind of doing PTing. So I was using some of them for my content side. And it was constantly oh my God, well done. You've done so well. Oh wow, how did you do this? You've done so well. You must be so happy. And I was fuck me, I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Happy. And I didn't want to, I hated standing in the mirror naked and body. I look like a 12-year-old boy that hasn't even hit puberty. There was nothing of me. But the goal was to be the smallest, lightest version. And I realized what a shit goal that was in the first place. What an anticlimactic thing it was. And I was nah. And that is when things started to change for me. And I was how can I be strong? What does strong feel like? What is strong? And that's when I found bodybuilding and really kind of just got into that whole mindset of wanting that feeling of strength as opposed to what the fuck I weighed. I didn't care. And that was a big changer. So from mid 2020 until today, I have taken my body on an absolute roller coaster of a journey, but I loved it. I loved it. And it's never, ever been about trying to be small and stuff.
Yeah, I like the way that the whole thing of it stopped being about being small as possible. You've done it. You realise actually it wasn't the be all and end all. And it's great as well that you didn't actually become addicted also to the comments, because I think sometimes the comments make when people say, "Oh, you've done so well, look at you," blah blah.
It gives you a bit of a high, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's addictive.
But you know what's funny though, and I because I've taken myself on and I went through bulks and really got myself uncomfortable. You don't get as many comments when you're bulking. The moment obviously I'm in prep now. Now. The comments I'm getting on the photos because there's some lines showing, and it's okay, cool. Yeah, obviously the goal is here to do that. I want to see what's been built over the last few years. In order to do that, I've got to get a bit shredded. Yeah. But I've no attachment to it. I'm not expecting to stay this shredded forever. Like, you know, this is
Yeah.
a couple of weeks, and then I want to relax and I want to have a bit more balance in my life, and I want to be able to eat my pasta again. Like, I miss it, you know. I like my carbs. Give them to me. I want to be able to go and meet a friend for a coffee and cake, not just an Americano. Boring. Over it. Like,
Almond croissants, innit?
the almond croissants, I can't deal with them. There is just something about an almond croissant that just makes my day. I'm getting more comments. I'm getting like, oh yeah, like, oh my God, you're doing so well. You must be so proud. Oh, this prep's amazing. Yeah, cool. But like, I'm doing it for a reason. I've got no attachment to these lines that are appearing, and then I can move on. But like previously, I'd be like, yeah, tell me more. Tell me how great I am. Like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, like I've done well. Keep going.
Yeah.
Like, you do sometimes, you do crave it sometimes, and you do get addicted, and then it goes quiet. Same with like I did bodybuilding prep, and the comments, like everything, constantly, the likes were much higher on my photos than my off-season photos, and it's like, well, what's wrong with my body?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I'm a little bit rounder, and maybe my face is a little bit, you know, out here, but I mean, just double tap and stop giving me a complex. Like,
But for fuck's sake.
it drops massively, but honestly, it's wild. But it never really bothered me. But I was a bit like, gee, yeah, that's a bit rude.
You do, because I was like, you done really well. You're like, thanks for the, but you start the pressure. Like I said to you, like I said to
Pressure.
Sarah, pressure. The pressure kicks in. Lynette, I was saying to Anna on a call, like, because I show everything, like on my thing, for example, like I want to be accountable and want people to see like the good and the bad and whatever, but almost that pressure I need to achieve it also kicks in. It's not, you start having that worry and you're like, but I don't want that to be a thing, because then I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. I start forgetting why I've started doing this. But it's so addictive. And I think even like you said, you could be unhappy, but you're still getting those comments that you're almost like, well, I need to stay like this because everyone thinks that this is the right way.
You're not doing it for them though, right? That's and that's what you just need to keep remembering is that it's not for them.
There's a level of expectation that you feel you have now, and it's like, oh, I've got it up. Otherwise people will think I've gone off the wagon. I'm just a normal girl that likes to go out with her mates, that will sometimes go and get a bit too drunk, that will then be in the kebab shop and eat that doner meat and hate myself the next day. Like, just normal people. Like, we don't, it's like, I'm not a robot. I couldn't be 100%. I'm not that person. I like food too much. I like to go out. I like to be like, go to nice restaurants and like have a glass of Prosecco. Like, we're just normal people that, like, whether you're a PT or a coach, and you know, and I did feel like that a little bit. I'm like, oh, like, people just expecting me to like be leaner or shredded and stuff, and is it an expectation for a coach or a PT to constantly be in that shredded thing? Like, I couldn't, like, for me, it's not a thing for me. Like, I couldn't
real.
Like that. No. And I think it's good to show that you can have like a normal life and still kind of chase your goals and be healthier and kind of have that change of lifestyle and stuff. And you just notice what you do. You just make slightly different choices. You don't cheat this out. And then you start to realize what you actually prefer. Yes, I do enjoy a drink. I do drink a lot less now, but it's more not because I feel like I can't. Personally, I just don't want to. And also, I don't know, like, as soon as you hit your 30s, those hangovers are just...
Another one.
What is that? Like, honestly, in my 20s, I was like, I don't get hangover. And I would drink red wine, white wine, shots, wake up the next morning going, let's go again. Like 4 days, 4 nights a week. You hit 30 and it's like, what, I want to die?
It's just not worth it. It's not worth the 3-day hangover. And I would rather put those calories. I'd rather have a decent, like, I would rather put all those calories to like a big fuck off meal that I will really enjoy. Like, the drink is there and then it's gone. Like,
it is those 30 plus hangovers are like, they are just, honestly, it's the worst. And you just question everything.
It's like the switch goes off. Like when you turn 30, goes, right, that's it. You are going to get some nasty hangovers.
Yeah, I'm about to patch it up for you now. You've had it good. You've had a good run in your 20s, and it's time you pay the price. And it's like, what the fuck? But
you're enjoying yourself now. You're enjoying yourself tomorrow.
Do you want your liver? Yeah,
you're dancing on that tempo right now. Just give it a couple more hours, love. Things lasting up.
Do you not remember, like, I remember times I'd go out on like a work night, stay out stupid hours, but I'd do work the next day. I would brush my hair Might still be wearing last night's makeup, but I am there.
Yes.
I remember getting home on a work, it's probably been like a Tuesday night, getting home at maybe 5:45 a.m. from a work night out on a Tuesday night, going, God, I better set my alarm clock for 30 minutes. Look, I get up at 6:15. So I literally crawled into bed, gone, right, alarm 30 minutes. I just need 30 minutes sleep. And that's it. Get up, go to work, do it again. Like, what?
But you got up.
That is,
But we did it.
that is meant. Do you know what? I
Can you
look back at
imagine
that.
doing that
No. Mental.
No.
I can't even imagine being out past midnight, let alone getting home at 5:45, going, I've got to wake up at 6:15.
Yeah.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
It's like if you go, even like late night reservations. I'm like, what? It is funny how it changes, but I think it's like you have one or two of those nights and those hangovers, and you're like, I don't want this anymore. Like, not for me. Like it really knocks you. And I noticed that, like, it just knocks so much out of me that I'm like, I'd rather not. So now it's like a little like wine here and there with dinner, and I know I'll still get the odd night out where I'll probably get a little bit too drunk.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it's very much like the odd night here and here, whereas before it was like constant
4 or 5 nights.
I don't know how I generally sometimes wonder how I'm still alive, to be fair, but
we used to use the excuse that we used to use the excuse that, oh, it's Monday, so let's go out for a drink because it's Monday and you want to get over the Monday, right? And then it's the Tuesday and it's like, oh, you might have a shit day on a Tuesday, yeah, let's just go out for one or two. Then it's Wednesday because it's hump day, then Thursday is the new Friday, then Friday is Friday. And so it's like, you were those are the excuses we used to use.
Every day.
Like, I just remember just strolling into the office. I'd still getting on time. I don't know how, because I still think on the day. But I'd get into the office, I'll have my McDonald's bag in one hand. There was the sausage cheese bagel.
Muffin.
The sausage cheese and egg bagel with a hash brown and an orange juice.
Yes.
And then 2 orange Lucozades in another bag, right? That was my go-to. So people know when I'm hungover when I walked into the office. That was literally that bag, 2 Lucozades. That's on the desk. No one's talking to me.
Yeah.
But I would, obviously, that would happen 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
So then I wondered why I got to like 27 and literally reached a point where I was like, I can't feel like this anymore. But because I've just abused myself over the last 7 years of just booze, no sleep, and Maccadees constant. Like Liverpool Street McDonald's. Honestly, I should probably be on there like all of that wall of fame.
You used to have a security guard in that Liverpool Street.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I'll still walk past it and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
If old Anna can see this Anna, like, I just sometimes it does take me back, but I do like, it's funny. That McDonald's has seen some things.
I think I probably have been chucked out of that McDonald's as well.
I've chucked out of plenty of places. But
oh my God.
But we did it, and we still did a whole day's worth of work, and we didn't have, like, most places didn't have somewhere where you could go and chill in your lunch break or anything like that either. So we'd be hung over, all of us at a day.
I went under the table a few times.
I slept in the toilet. Yeah,
Sit down.
10 minutes,
sleeping on the toilet, bro. Oh my God. That's really taking me back.
Or I used to get on the tube and then go, I really want to, do you know, like with the bit with the window, like the edge seat, I was like, I really want that.
Yeah, you just want to like,
put my head,
go like,
oh my
yeah. Or I probably have fallen asleep standing up as well on the pole, going, just 2 minutes. You
know what, the worst, the amount of times I've got on I remember once being on the Jubilee line. I got on it somewhere, maybe Waterloo or something like that. Yeah. Got on the Stratford one, but obviously I fell asleep. So I got to Stratford and went back to Stanmore. And I woke up in Stanmore and I was like, then I looked at a cab to take me home and it was like £170. I was like, fuck. And then it started moving again. So I went all the way to Stratford. I drove 2.5 hours. And then I finally got home like fucking 5 hours later. And I was like, what happened? And then the other one is my train. The amount of times I've missed my stop and it goes to the end of the line, but it's usually the lunch train, right? That's train seen some stuff as well. And
the McDonald's train. There's a train from Waterloo we call the Burger King train. Yeah. And
I remember like so many times missing my stop and then going to like the end of the line and there's no more trains back. So it was like a £50 cab. Oh my God, the amount of money I've spent on cabs, the amount of times I've done it, like, and you think, you know what, after 1 or 2, maybe 3 times you'll learn. Fucking not.
No.
It's been so many times, but
Friggin' Uber as well. I did this. This was, I think maybe it was like a birthday night out. I can't remember. But when they started introducing bloody Uber Lux, so then I got home and I checked my, obviously, the receipt the next morning. I was like, why was a £20 journey 80 quid? And it was because it was an Uber Lux. And I'm like, what?
Wanted to go style.
You know what else is really expensive? Cleaning charges for Ubers.
Oh yeah.
So many of them. Let's not talk about the amount of money that has been spent over the years for cleaning charges for Uber.
Oh mate.
So basically, like, ambassadors for Uber and McDonald's. Then, like, they're like, you could be spokesperson for them.
Like, you know what's really funny? You know, like nowadays you've got like the Ring doorbells and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've had to look back, me trying to get into the house is just like crazy, and I just love them. And sometimes you see those videos on like TikTok, and I just sit like, it just cracks me up. And I'm so glad that there's something out there that actually captures that moment.
Yes.
And then it's like, what time do you get in? Actually, I can tell you. Hang on a sec. 3:17 a.m. You know, just
our Ring doorbell. I swear to God, you see the most weird. Like our one, for some reason, I don't know why. Our Ring doorbell seems to attract random people to do random shit outside of our doorway. Like I swear to God, we've had drunkards like kicking footballs and screaming down off of it. We've had like 2 people making out in front of our Ring doorbell.
Nice.
It's like once what was I doing? I was like working or something, and like Ricky was just like cracking up laughing. I was like, what? And he's like, have you seen what's going on outside our front door right now? It's like 8 o'clock. I was like, no. Like, and then we watched the video, and literally this couple, they were like on something, and they came to the door, and then he was like just grabbing her boobs, and he was like touching her up, and all that. And I was just like, I think because we've got a light outside our door as well, they must have thought, need a bit. What we're doing?
I don't even know how we digress onto drunken antics out, but
no, you know what's funny? I'm sitting there thinking, like, we're sitting there going, I used to drink like this, and I used to eat like this, and then we're sitting there wondering, like, why did I put all this weight on, and how did I get so bad? Like, wait a minute,
that would be it. The red wine and fags era, we call it. That's what we used to live off. That was our dinner, and maybe some nachos if the pub did it.
Mine was a white wine, like, you know that period of like, it was like the white wine, like drunk, it was like a thing.
Oh yeah.
All the headaches were the worst.
Yeah, wine drunk is another level, and because I was always more of a spirits girl, and then I started drinking wine. I'd say my last 2 years a bit more so, like red wine. But the wine drunk is just that. It's not. I don't get merry on it. It's not a fun thing. I just feel sick, heavy-headed, and the hangover is on another level.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? We're just normal people that like to have a good time, and that's.
You got to let loose every now and again.
Yeah, I think people need it. You got to let your hair down and just
100%.
relax. I think just relax. Like, not everything needs to be that deep. Just chill.
Yeah.
So, Lynette, have we convinced you to do a photo shoot maybe at some point? Or is it still terrifying?
Do you know what? I did a little laugh there, but listening to, obviously, because I've seen what you've done next, and obviously listening to you now, like it just makes sense, you know, talking about it in the last episode and kind of doing these podcasts and stuff. I kind of see as like therapy as well, because you kind of get everything out, right? You get everything out on the podcast, and you talk it through, stuff that you wouldn't normally talk through. Who knows? But
I'll hold you to that.
It's always hard to explain to someone what it is that these shoots actually give you, because it's like a lot of people think, oh yeah, we'll have some nice photos, and yet that will happen. And Lex, you've got some incredible photos that you love and videos and everything, but way beyond that, it was the experience of actually putting yourself out there and what that mentally did to you. And it's like, wow, I fucking look great. Like that moment, that kind of like realization of like, I can do what the fuck I want to do. And I think that's the part of, like, it's really hard to explain that feeling until you've actually felt it and that experience. And I always say to people, you get some cool photos, but guys, let me tell you that, like, the actual experience, getting there, doing it just has this, like, I don't know, you get like that spring in your step that you've been really like that you've wanted for so long, and it's come from off the back of a, you know, standing in front of a camera and, you know, okay, sometimes you can take your kit off, sometimes you don't. But like, yeah, it's one of those processes. Like, I'm so glad I did my first one.
Yeah.
Because it changed everything for me. But it was the process of getting to it.
It is the process of getting to it. But it almost like, I kind of felt on that day afterwards, I was like, oh my God, I for once was, and it wasn't, do you know what, the photos were cool. The experience was something else, like you said. And like you said, unless you do something like that, I can't explain it. But I was like, that's the woman that I've been wanting to be for the longest time, like, who just was like, fuck it, like had just that fuck it mentality.
Then you finally met her. Have you been hiding?
I was like, fuck it out, like, who's it? Like,
that was your reaction, wasn't it? She was like, what was it? It was something like, fuck off. That's me.
Yeah, literally, Ben was like, come and take a picture, and I was like, fuck off, that's not me, because it was just like, it was because at the beginning, do you know what's funny? I was saying this to some of the other girls, and I've said it before, the gym photo bit of it, like the gym wear stuff, those pictures, I was like, yeah, kind of thing. And I was more nervous doing them actually than when it came to like the lingerie stuff. But when it came to the lingerie stuff, I was like, I've got one opportunity here. I can either sit there all nervous and look back and think, oh, I should have done this, or I can just own it. And Ben was, I had this dressing gown for like this little lingerie like neck one, and Ben was just like, just do what you want with it, like just play around with it and stuff. And we were like, because by that point, it's like the nerves had kind of gone, and it was like, okay, I'm basically half naked in a room of people that I do not know. But then it got to the point where I was just like, fuck it, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And like, I want to represent like plus size girls, but also like girls that are still working, that just because you're plus size doesn't mean that you don't care about your body or look after yourself, etc. And I wanted to be able to show that. And like I said before, like Ben literally said, you're the curviest girl in here, own it. And that was the one thing he said to me, and I was like, right, okay, cool. But that's all I needed to hear, because I was so conscious that I was the curviest girl there. But and like the feeling and experience side of it is you feel really vulnerable, but at the same time it's like, it's such a, I just think, like Anna said, it's really hard experience to explain. You're in a room with the same people that are all feeling the exact same way. You know, you start asking each other questions about like their goals, and it was like, what, even those things about, oh, I'm worried that I'm a certain age that I'm doing this, but it's like none of that mattered after. Everyone just became like their best selves behind that camera. Like it was just, sorry, in front of the camera, should I say. And just the experience of it, and that thing of like that really letting go of it. I kind of almost let go of like young Alexia, who was just always scared of doing all those things. I used to always say, if I had the body, I'd be dangerous. Trust me. You think I'm confident if I had that kind of body? But I was like, I don't need to wait till that, because I'm dangerous now. I became dangerous. Like I said, I literally became the person that I wanted to be for so long. And I was like, all it took was it wasn't just that, obviously. All it took was actually focusing me for like X amount of months, really putting hard work and dedication in. And I think it's that thing of like, even though I've carried on from there and I'm still continuing, I'm still really proud of where I got to with that, because it was a first. It was like a really interesting thing to do. So I think sometimes you just have to push yourself out of that comfort zone and just see what you can achieve out of it. You'd probably be surprised with what actually you can achieve when you do that.
Yeah, now you're hooked.
I am hooked. I really enjoy doing it, and it's nice to do it again also, because I've learned from the last one, but I'm also seeing, I can still fail if I try and take shortcuts, or I don't put the 100% in. Like, there's still room for failure there, but it's okay, because I'm still working, like I haven't given up. And I think that's been the lesson for this time, which is still a good thing to learn. And it's like you said, it's a roller coaster, it's a marathon. This is not a quick fix thing, as we know. It's going to continue on like this. And what would you say to someone who is like, I want to start somewhere, I don't know where to begin? Like, what is like the first 3 things that you would do to make changes?
Start with the basics. So like, you wouldn't build a house without foundations or digging it up. Like, start with the basics. Think of small changes you can make that move you towards that goal. Now, that could be, it's like someone who is, in a desk job that, barely gets 2,000-3,000 steps a day, suddenly goes, well, I need to get 10,000 steps a day. And then I need to do this. Get 5, see how it goes. Get good at getting 5 in on a daily basis. Do that for a few weeks, go up. So I've always just start with the basics. Think of 3 very simple things that you can do that will move you closer to where you want to be. Because the more overwhelmed you feel at the sheer task of what your goal is, the less likely you're going to actually do it. Because that whole thought of, oh shit, I've got to climb a mountain. Climb a hill first, or even walk down the fucking road first. Like, that has start there. Start those little habits. Become a little bit more aware. What are you currently doing that's put you in this place in the first place. What is that behavior? Might be the 3 takeaways that you have a week. Have 2. Let me get rid of it. It could be that you drink what they call like full fat Coke, for example, right? And you have 3 of them a day. Have 1. Have Coke Zero as the other 2. It's the little changes that don't feel like you've gone in and just had to have like a complete overhaul. That's where to start. Like those small little things, those kind of, and then those small tiny things start to add up, and then you become really good at them. And then what happens then? You start to think, okay, I've got this. Okay, that's a bit of confidence. Then when you've got more confidence, you're then capable of doing it, taking the next step. And that could be, cool, I've been doing 5K for the last 3-4 weeks. Do you know what? That's pretty much most days has been hit. I'm going to go 6, 7. Let's do that for a few weeks. Get really good at that. Boom, let's go. For me, it's like, and don't try and feel like you have to be perfect to get somewhere, because imperfect action is better than no action. Mic drop.
Love that.
That's it.
Like, it's true though. It's true. Some people don't even take that action because it's not the right time. It's not the right environment. It's not the right this. It's not the right that. When is the right time? When is the right environment? Yeah. Like, just take it and just go. Like, learn as you go. Learn, like, fail. Pick yourself up. Keep going. I failed loads of times over the years. Loads of times, and that is through like some of the goals I've set myself, some of the business stuff I've set myself. Constantly failed. Failed at work a lot over the years. Never stopped me. So don't be afraid to actually be a bit shit at first. And I think as well, like, lean on your support system. I think is probably a good thing. Like, look around you. Like, have you got that right support system? Because it's needed. That will probably be like, that was quite a lot of advice, wasn't it, for one piece of advice?
No, it's good. I said, like, 3 tips, but it's not really, is it? It's multiple things around that. So no, that's fine. Lynette, like, questions, comments from you as well?
I think I was going to go on a bit of a tangent, really, but it is kind of in line with kind of what we're all saying, and kind of what we've said in the last episode as well, in terms of motivation and kind of what demotivated us. So I kind of recently signed up to learn a new skill, right? Like an online skill. So, and when I signed up to it, I kind of really naively thought that, right, from the first video, I would be starting to learn, right, this is how you do the skill. But actually, what I realized was that 50-60% of that course was mindset. It started off like, why are you doing this? What is your why? What is your motivation? Then it went on to, right, if you do this course and you learn this skill, who is the person that you want to become? You do a little exercise where it's like, who do you want to be? Like, what time do you wake up in the morning? What do you eat? How are you feeling? And then the next bit was, well, why aren't you that person now? Like, why can't you be that person now? There isn't anything stopping you. Like, learning this thing isn't stopping you from being this person. You can get up at 6 o'clock. You can eat right. Like, you can do all of this. And it's, for me, like, in the last kind of few months or so, the mindset thing has really it's starting to make sense. Like, you can't just learn something and get there. You can't just kind of go to the gym and be fit. Like, you need to want to do it. You need to have the right mindset. You need to have the right attitude. And that's kind of it as well. This is exactly it. And that's kind of in terms of like my comments, my thoughts, and kind of my learnings as well. It's like, it's here. It starts here. That, and like vision boards and even stuff like that. Like, where do you want to be? Like, how do you, on a day-to-day basis, if you don't have that vision and you can't see kind of where you want to be, like, then how are you going to get there? Like, what are you aiming for?
Yeah. it's like we said last time, like, it's not the motivation thing, but like, you can manifest it, etc., and like, hope these things happen, but it is the discipline around those things and the mind, like, changing that mindset and everything. So that, and then does make total sense. Actually, it's interesting from like a learning perspective. I've never seen it as that. It's kind of like, you get told, you need to think and feel a certain way if you're trying to make changes in yourself, but actually to learn something and stay dedicated to it, you have to change your mindset on that as well. So it's really interesting, actually, from that point of view. My last question, I suppose, Anna, is very important. If you had to give up either wine or croissants, the almond croissants, for the rest of your life, which one are we choosing?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I'd give up the wine.
Okay.
I have to say, there's just something about an almond croissant. I can't put my finger on it, guys, but it just makes me so happy.
You've got to tell us where you've got the best almond croissant.
Everyday almond croissant prep. You can't get better.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I have to agree.
the bits. Oh,
yeah. It's just everything about it. There is a place in there's like a, you know, like the girls' bakeries. They do the almond like flattened. That is something else. Yeah. What was the other one? Olstein in London. There's a few.
oh yeah.
I've not heard that one.
Oh, that's a good one. That they do like these almond kind of croissant-y roll things.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
You know what's really fun? I hate almond butter. But the almondy paste that you get within the croissant.
Oh,
yeah, that's different.
Just give me that.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
honestly, like I'm gonna be. I honestly can't wait. I'm gonna be in my bed for my shoot, and like when it finishes, it's like I'm gonna go and get a glass of wine. And then I'm
not giving any one of them up. I'm having them both.
No, I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing. You know what? Like a cinnamon bun.
Oh yes, I love a cinnamon bun. Oh my god, yeah, that's what I'm craving actually.
There's a lot of cravings happening right now.
The other day, I was like, I'm really craving a McDonald's breakfast because I haven't had one in so long, and I was like, should we get one? Like, literally, for an instant, and Ricky was like, I was like, you're right, we won't get one. Fuck it. I just had cravings all of a sudden. I was like, I haven't had one of those in so long.
Yeah.
Short-term sacrifices for long-term gain. So croissants are going to, you know, the bakery's going to be there, the food's going to be there. You're just currently, your actions are just aligning with a goal that you currently got. That's all it is.
Yeah, definitely.
It becomes a lot easier, and you know, but that takes time. That skill takes time. It is, you know, that's definitely, like, I've had moments where like I've nearly quit this prep about 10 times. Like I've had moments, and I'm like, I'm gonna take myself to prep, get a full fat cappuccino and a croissant, and just chill. Like, what's the worst that can happen? But I thought, no, I'm not going to do that because I know I'd be annoyed with myself.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That thought, I'm like, no, just get through it. It's just temporary. Time. The thing is, look, how quick this time passing is. Like literally April now. Like before we're going to pick, and it'll be September. Like it's going so fast. I mean, I can handle another couple of weeks. It's, you know, it's just one of those.
Yeah.
I'll just be hungry and sad.
Did you ask anything before we summarize, finish it up? I keep going into work meeting mode. I've noticed it.
I love it. Always it. It fits in as well.
Did you want to ask us anything basically before we finish?
Okay. You know, when you're just sat there and your brain's just like, I don't think I've got much. But then it's not like, you know, I've not got much calories, so just let me be. I'm not functioning. Let's do another episode once I've added some calories into my life and see how we go. And I'll bring 100%. A glass of wine and then see what happens. Brain fog, the fatigue at the moment is literally like, I'll think about a question. I'll bring it to the next episode. I did really enjoy your last episode that I listened to. So great, like generally, but a really, really cool podcast, and the whole thing behind it, like, I just love. So definitely be listening to, or might even listen back to this, or that'd be a bit
weird. It. Yeah. Oh, we listen back.
We like the sound of our voices. We always do.
I'm not listening back to it. Imagine if I'm like laughing, oh, she's funny, oh, that's me.
Yeah. But we were saying, weren't we? We're like, when we're listening back, we're like, because you're in it when we're recording it, and then you kind of forget that bits that have happened, and then you were listening to it back, and honestly, like I was saying to Next, I was just laughing along at it because it's like, we're actually really funny. We're funny.
We have to love it. We have to love what we're doing. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, like if we look back, fucking hated that. What's the point?
Yeah.
The thing is, the last one though, I said to Lynette, fucking hell, I went on a couple of tangents in our last one. I was like, I spoke so much. I was clearly passionate about what we were talking about.
Or was it demotivated or unmotivated?
Well, that was, don't know. You tell us. What is it?
No idea. Don't know. You sound right, so just go with it.
Yeah.
English is my second language. Don't ask me.
Well, look, we're going to let Anna go to bed because she's Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking actually your way as well this week. So thank you so much for taking time out to do the chat with us. We've loved having you on. It's been really interesting. I hope people are inspired and engaged by what you've said. And
I hope so. Romantic stories. I'm not sure where the inspiration's coming from that, but
But no, thank you. And for anyone who's listening and wants to follow Anna is on Anna Marie Fitness on Instagram. That's right. Yeah, I should know this by now. Taking off and stuff. And yeah, thank you for everyone for listening. Anna, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we will again soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I loved it.
Mood. We're relatable as fuck.